How's it going, YouTube? Come in today with another video, and today, guys, what I bring to you is going to be another very important topic. Very similar to my spreadsheet video, this is going to be something a little bit more off script, talking more so about things that bother me in the game and things that really do need to be addressed and fast. The number one thing for me right now is the elitist mentality has to stop. If we're ever talking about this game just dying outright, it's going to be because of this mentality. And we'll talk about what I mean by that and how bad it's gotten in the video. If you haven't already checked out my sponsors over in RW, Cloud, Gem, Arla, Imperium, Dragonshield, and Grimoire, definitely go and do so all down below in the description. Also, definitely go and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're about to hit 25,000. Let's aim for 30,000 by the end of the year. I appreciate each and every one of you. So let's have a chat about something that really does bother me in the game. The first thing I'm going to talk about today is going to be invites. Now, there's a lot of players out there that try their hardest, and it's really rough for them to get their invite. That's why there's so many LCQs that fire on Friday of the NAWCQ. And, this is something where people are really trying to get their invite. And whether you get it at a top 64, a top 32, a top 48, a top 16, you get it at like an OTS championship, it's a big deal for a lot of players. And I've personally seen players' face just light up when they get their invite and then immediately turn around to someone and be like, so what? You just got your invite. Like, that's kind of crazy to me. I remember when it was really hard for me to get my invite. I clear it now like it's no problem. But there's a lot of people that really do suffer when they're going through an event because they're so stressed out about getting their invite and it's hard for them to do. So this is something where a lot of people don't even know. Back in the day with regionals, you could only get your invite if you made top 8. That's crazy. And it was so exclusive. It was so hard, right? Because to get your invite meant that you were doing really well, right? So that's something that is really important to note. And I think that we shouldn't brush off someone's accomplishment, their own player's accomplishment, as a meaningless thing, when a lot of people try the entire year to get their invite, and some of them are just like really happy to just have that, let alone getting something like a top 8, right? Your tops don't matter unless, and I think this is insane. It's actually so crazy. If you go and you top like a remote YCS, right? Or you top like a remote regional, people are like, that doesn't matter, you're still a scrub. That is not correct, and it's not going to be anywhere pointing to what you can do in the game. What? Like, who are you? Right? It's just insane. And do me a favor, put an exclamation point in the comment section if you've ever heard your regional tops don't matter, your invites don't matter, your remote tops don't matter, you doing anything in the game that's not a YCS or Nats top just doesn't matter. Let me know down below. Tell me how many people have heard that, because I guarantee most players have. That's heinous, right? That's just actually insane. And it's just like this 1% elitist mentality of, wow, it's not a YCS top, so no credibility, you probably don't do well. And, it's not even just toward one person, right? This is so widespread, and I see it all the time. And even posting, like, the DB screenshot of me just playing Striker, people are like, well, it's a little low in the rating, right? Like, it's crazy to me that people can't just be like, good job, right? It's just not around. And I think that is just so vile. Like, this is the kind of toxicity that the Yu-Gi-Oh community is known for. And we gotta change that narrative. It can't be like this, right? I want to see people getting their invite and other people being happy for them just getting their invite, right? I want to see people going out and winning a case tourney or topping a YCS that's remote, right? And then still getting some kind of praise other than that's not real. And I think that just bothers me a lot. And you guys can probably tell that I'm getting a little worked up over it. But like, even if somebody goes to like a regional, let's say it's in Europe and it has like 200 contestants, maybe 150, right? And someone wins that regional. Immediately people are like, well, it doesn't count because it was like sub 200. It's insane. It's insane. I don't get it, right? And it's something that I feel like we should just be happy for each other in the game. And I know that we're never going to see that, unfortunately, just because, like, that's kind of built into the game. And, you know, if you are aiming higher, that's great, and you should always aim higher. But I just am so sick of seeing people getting punched down on because they're like, oh, I did really well and I topped the regional. And they're like, but it wasn't a YCO, so who cares? It's always going to be the next pillar, right? And this is a huge shout out to my teammate Craig as well. And he mentioned this before. It's like, if people don't like that you haven't topped something, right? You top that one thing, and then people are like, well, it's only been that one thing. So then you top again, and people are like, well, it's not Nats, right? Like, it never stops, right? Unless you have, like, a slew of YCS tops, which is, again, like, the 1% of the game. And what's crazy is a lot of the people that hear this mentality are players that have never done a single thing except go 2-2 at a local. And then they just reverberate the conversations that they hear where they're like, well, you didn't top a YCS. And then you just do the Spider-Man meme where you go, but you didn't either, right? And it's just like this toxic mentality that just needs to stop. It is not healthy for the game, and it's not a welcoming invitation either. This is what is really hard on players and what makes them so nervous when they're new and going to an event because they're afraid of that kind of mentality. And I've heard it multiple times. Now, this is another big thing too, is that if you have a player that a lot of people look up to and they're like, listen, this card is amazing, people are just gonna blind trust that that card is good. But if your friend who, let's say, like, has a regional top 8, is like genuinely pretty okay at the game, you trust like their judgment, and they come to you and they're like, hey, this card is going to be really solid next format, and then you just disregard, like, that's just gotta stop. Like, unless it's truly bad and it's something that they're like, let's play Abyss Actors in Yummy, right? Then you can be like, okay, that's not it. But like, I feel like this happens a lot too, where people have an idea and they're like so happy about it and they're like really wanting to say something, but then they're like, oh, I was just kind of kidding, and this is like really troll, it's just a meme, but like, look at this card, it's like so funny. And then they'll wait for the approval. And I think that's crazy. Like, if you have a tech and you believe in it, you should try it out. You should really give it a shot, because that's how cards get popular. People bring like the spicy tech to an event and all of a sudden it was actually a good call. But people are so not confident in themselves that they have to preface it with, oh, it's just kind of like a joke, but like, look at this card. And I see that so often. And then they don't play the card, and then someone else plays it, and then they top, and they're like, wow, that's crazy, because I had the idea. So this is where we have to break that barrier of only paying attention to what the biggest competitive players say and start trying to find innovation as well. Because what they're doing is just finding cards that they think are really good in the game, and you could do the same thing and find things that are missed, right? So that's something that I think is also really important, is that you should be listening to everyone's ideas in the community collectively and not shutting down anything immediately. If I ever get approached with an idea, I'm always just like, but why? Right? Like, convince me that it's good. And then a lot of times if I have an idea, I'll tell my friends, I'll be like, convince me that this is bad, right? And then usually they'll give me like 2 reasons immediately, and I'm like, all right, cool, I'm not playing this card, right? But try to approach it from like devil's advocate. Like, even if you don't fully believe in it, be like, why, right? And just try to see the application behind it. We really have to level the playing field and make sure our local communities are as competitive as possible. Because if you have a very competitive local, it's just going to benefit everyone. So where you have a lot of the players that just kind of get shut down by the players that are like the better ones at their local, the other players don't really want to play or improve. But imagine the rounds that you'll get and the more competitive games that you'll get if you level the playing field and try to help those other people at your local get better or get to the level that you are at, right? And I think that this is like, in total, just something that we need to work on as a community. And, you know, this is just me as a guy on YouTube saying how I feel about the game that I love, right? And this isn't like directly going after anyone. This is specifically just like, listen, guys, like, what are we doing, right? I think that this is a terrible thing that we have going on right now, and it's something that we could definitely fix. but just try to be nicer to your fellow duelists. I see people crashing out at people at events. It's crazy. And, you know, I've stood up for a couple players. One of my really close friends in the game now, I stood up for him 100% at the table because he was getting screamed at. And we just don't need that. This is a hobby that we all love, something that we like doing. I work 50 hours a week, maybe more, in like constant back to back to back days. Like, it's rough. When I go to an event and I see the people that watch my channel, I see all my friends, I get to play some Yu-Gi-Oh! That is one of the best times that I have, and it is so needed and thankful, and I just get to kind of escape to a different reality, right? Like a different spot in life, which is really cool, and that's why we all play the game. So, just at the end of the day, just try to take what I said in consideration and just try to be nicer, try to accept other players, appreciate accomplishments. Even if you don't view it as a big accomplishment, you should still be happy for them for getting that far. And then, you know, if they want to get better and they want to get pushed to do better, then have a conversation with them. But don't put anyone down. I'm sick of hearing it. I hope that you all enjoyed the video. Definitely go ahead and check out my Twitter, Twitch, Discord, Instagram. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow my TikTok. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'll catch you on the next video. Thank you.